Email spoofing is the creation of email messages with a forged sender address, something which is simple to do because the core protocols do no authentication. Spam and phishing emails typically use such spoofing to mislead the recipient about the origin of the message. A number of measures to address spoofing are available, including SPF, Sender ID, DKIM, and DMARC. Although their use is increasing, it is likely that almost half of all domains still do not have such measures in place. However, as of 2013, 60% of consumer mailboxes worldwide use DMARC to protect themselves against direct domain spoofing, and only 8.6% of emails have no form of domain authentication. Technical detail: when an SMTP email is sent, the initial connection provides two pieces of address information: mail from, generally presented to the recipient as the return path, header but not normally visible to the end user, and by default no checks are done that the sending system is authorized to send on behalf of that address. Our CPTTO specifies which email address the email is delivered to, is not normally visible to the end user but may be present in the headers as part of the received header. Together these are sometimes referred to as the envelope addressing, by analogy with a traditional paper envelope. Once the receiving mail server signals that it accepted these two items, the sending system sends the data command, and typically sends several header items, including, from joe@example.com, the address visible to the recipient. But again, by default no checks are done that the sending system is authorized to send on behalf of that address. Reply to, Jane Roe at example.mil similarly not checked. The result is that the email recipient sees the email as having come from the address in the from header. They may sometimes be able to find the mail from address. And if they reply to the email, it will go to either the address presented in the mail from, or reply to, header, but none of these addresses are typically reliable, so automated bounce messages may generate backscatter. Used by spam and worms, malware such as Cliz and Sober and many more modern examples often search for email addresses within the computer they have infected, and use those addresses both as targets for email, but also to create credible forged from fields in the emails that they send, so that these emails are more likely to be opened. For example, Alice is sent an infected email which she opens, running the worm code. The worm code searches Alice's address book and finds the addresses of Bob and Charlie. From Alice's computer, the worm sends an infected email to Bob, but forged to appear to have been sent by Charlie. In this case, even if Bob's system detects the incoming mail as containing malware, he sees the source as being Charlie, while Alice remains unaware of the actual infection. Fooling media: it has happened that the media printed false stories based on spoofed emails. In October 2013, an email which looked like it was from the Swedish company Fingerprint Cards was sent to a news agency, saying that Samsung offered to purchase the company. The news spread and the stock exchange rate surged by 50%. But the email was from someone else. It has also happened that people and companies have been scandalized by spoofed email to newspapers. Historical legitimate use: in the early Internet, legitimately spoofed email was common. For example, a visiting user might use the local organization's SMTP server to send email from the user's foreign address. Since most servers were configured as open relays, this was a common practice. As spam email became an annoying problem, these sorts of legitimate uses fell out of favor. The effect on mail servers: traditionally, mail servers could accept a mail item, then later send a non-delivery report or bounce message if it couldn't be delivered or had been quarantined for any reason. These would be sent to the mail from, also known as return path address. With the massive rise in forged addresses, best practice is now to not generate NDRs for detected spam, viruses etc., but to reject the email during the SMTP transaction. When mail administrators fail to take this approach, their systems are guilty of sending backscatter emails to innocent parties, in itself a form of spam, or being used to perform job attacks. Mail administrators may be able to enable SSL/TLS in their mail transfer software. Using certificates in this manner increases the amount of authentication performed when sending mail. Identifying the source of the email: Although email spoofing is often effective in forging the sender's real email address, the IP address source computer sending the mail can generally be identified from the received lines in the email header. In many cases this is likely to be an innocent third party infected by malware that is sending the email without the owner's knowledge. See also, email authentication, sender policy framework, computer virus, computer worm, hoax, chain email, Joe job, website spoofing, external links and references, search tech tip, spoofed forged emails.